Um, well, I just finished Miss Marvel's finale, episode 6. We're about to talk full spoilers. So if you haven't seen the episode yet, be warned. They did a little name drop at the very end of this episode that overall I enjoyed the episode, just so everyone knows, but I have tears in my eyes. I don't even know why. And I also flat out do not understand why my jaw just dropped so hard. Because we didn't just get like a little bit of an X-Men 90s, 90s cue. Like we got that original X-Men animated sound. I heard it. They called her a freaking mutant. Oh my god, we got a lot to talk about, guys. What's going on? Welcome back to a brand new TV review for Miss Marvel. I have no idea why I have tears in my eyes, but overall, guys, we are here to talk about episode 6 in full spoilers. If you're new here and you love talking Marvel, TV, movies, this is truly the spot for you guys. I'm always staying up for all these fun Disney Plus shows, and I'm happy to have you guys along for the ride. So make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, as well as comment down below your guys' thoughts. So overall, let's go to the start of this episode, and then towards the end of this, we'll dive back into the mutants and, of course, the post-credit scene. Miss Marvel has been a show that I have been super surprised by and overall really enjoyed. But going into the show, there was a lot of changes that they were doing from the comics. I can't speak much on those changes just for the same fact that I'm not totally intertwined with this character. I understand in the comics, I think she's an Inhuman, as well as she has stretchy powers instead of this kind of holistic, kind of atmospheric thing that they're kind of doing in here, which I've overall liked the change. I would have preferred the original thing that they did in the comics, but still, I digress. For me, going into this episode, I was not the biggest fan of last week's episode. I thought that was easily the worst episode from this entire series. It was rushed. It felt weird. Heading into this episode, there's a lot they still had to do. And overall, I actually thought they accomplished everything that I was truly needing this episode to do, satisfying me in different elements and ways, while also providing that final last stand to give Kamala that superhero standard. Do I still think there should have been like 2 more episodes of this show to really make it feel not a little bit of rushed? Absolutely. But as a finale, I thought this was great, and as well as a build-up of this character that I am so excited to see in the next Captain Marvel movie. Trust me, that's going to be great. So overall in this episode, seeing her, first off, I love that her family just accepts her as a superhero. Like, they understand this. I love that her suit comes from her mother, that her mother designed this suit. I love all of that. And of course, in the end of the day, with her friend, who really much had some anger towards her, comes to forgive her. Now, Zoe, I like the context of that. It just kind of felt weird that she just pops up at the school. But in general, the whole entire running scenario and building it up to the school, it ends up leading into a finale that, if you have been loving Miss Marvel, you are totally probably in love with this finale and the way that it is that coming-of-age story. It is something that is just with kids. It's not a giant action set piece. It didn't need to be whatsoever, but the action that we did get was pretty damn cool. And I actually had fun with this, seeing that all of her friends were helping out, seeing in general that the community that is really much built about this Nightlight girl really coming to play and to help them save one of their own. We see it at the mosque, we see it at the school, we see all these different elements running rapid to, of course, get them away from damage control. And overall, I like that. Now, I was expecting that lady from damage control was probably going to end up being a Skrull. She wasn't, which was interesting, but she was really much just acting in her own motives, which I think came down to the same way that there really was no strong villain for Miss Marvel overall. They started to kind of use Kareem into that nature, but they never truly went there, which thank God they didn't. I thought that would have been completely stupid if they did, personally. But it all built up to this nice, awesome, epic moment. And, seeing Miss Marvel actually, or Nightlight up to this point, really start to use her powers. And again, it just goes to Amon's performance as Kamal. I loved Kamala in this. She is easily one of my favorite new characters in Phase 4. I love this whole entire introduction to her and how relatable she is in every single sense and avenue. And the way that she becomes a hero is something that a lot of us who look up to superheroes like that would feel. And I love in that moment when, Karam comes out And absolutely, he starts flipping out at everyone, and she's, in a sense, saving everyone. But I did get very joyous when they did start stretching her arms out, and she has the arms and the legs out, because that's some of my favorite things that I've ever seen Kamala in, whether it was in the comics or, of course, any of the games that Miss Marvel has appeared in. And it was awesome. And I actually thought the visual effects for this episode were pretty good. Some of this weird kaleidoscope stuff still does not matter for me, but still enough. I love that. And I love how she saved everyone that showed up for her, and then they came to help her. She got Kareem out of there. He ends up getting a home, and maybe that'll all tie in towards maybe a second season of Miss Marvel or something of that nature with the Red Dagger. And then she ends up becoming the hero for her city. And that final moment with her and her dad talking was really important, and how he said that you were perfect to us, but in this language, Marvel. And she goes, "You're telling me I have the same name as Carol frickin' Danvers?" Which just, again, heartwarming, charming, and delightful. And then, of course, it flashes to 1 week later. And Bruno, he has Kareem's car, pulls up, and then they're talking. And we're talking about that moment that made my jaw go, what? And the mutants have officially arrived in the MCU. Now, I know there's going to be comic book fans out there going, oh my god, this is the worst choice that they could have ever done. Oh my god, this is the best choice that they could have ever done, depending on which side you are on. For me, I actually kind of dig it. I dig her being a mutant instead of an Inhuman. Now, I'm curious to see how they're going to tie in, of course, the rest of the mutants. Magneto has a very interesting and very important backstory that has to be tied into World War II. At least in my opinion, I do not think that should be changed. You have Wolverine, you have Cyclops, you have Storm. That's a whole other discussion we can discuss at a different time. But the fact that she's a fucking mutant, guys, that is insane to me, that this was the choice that they made. And the fact that we also have Marvel's Hall H panel at San Diego Comic-Con, which I will be attending, and I'm doing my best to get into that panel, because in 2019 I got to go and it was awesome, and I'm assuming this year's going to be great. Now leading into that, that's going to be pretty interesting. But I can't believe they made Kamala a mutant. And for a second, I was like, okay, they're calling her a mutant, but then they made that X-Men sound, that little sound bite, which changed everything and absolutely got me hyped. So love that choice. I'm probably might be in the minority on that. I love that choice. Do I wish they would have kept her as an Inhuman? Sure, but a mutant is also great and really makes sense for the context of the story, and I can't wait till they lead into that a little bit more. Leading in now, we also have the end credit scene, which is really different because she starts looking at the band, and all of a sudden she just flies towards the door, and Captain Marvel pops out, Brie Larson, which was great. And I'm really excited to see what Nia DaCosta's direction is going to be with Brie Larson's as Captain Marvel, because I think Nia is going to nail this character really down, specifically as well with Monica Rambeau and Miss Marvel. And she's kind of just there, and she goes, what? Like, she's shocked. So where does that lead into? Where did Miss Marvel go? Where did Kamala Khan go? And where is this story going to take us next? I cannot wait to see next year. And honest to God, guys, thank you so much again for coming week to week to talk Miss Marvel with me. I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. Thoroughly enjoyed this entire show. What a delightful surprise this all was. And I cannot wait to see where Kamala Khan comes next. I cannot wait to see her in the Marvels. And in general, guys, thank you so much again for watching this. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. And of course, until next time, stay classy.